everybody, and welcome to the Good Anime Palette Podcast. This is episode 11. I am your co-host, Jason, and I am joined, as always, as usual, with Will. What's going on, buddy?
Good morning, y'all. As always, as usual, it's raining again.
Oh my god, I actually forgot to talk to you about that, even though we like walked through the rain.
Yeah, on the way over to their office, it's just been like getting heavier and heavier and heavier, and I don't think it's gonna get any better. I mean, supposedly it's going to be a bit sunnier by like Monday or Tuesday, but there's going to be like rainy showers throughout the week.
You see, this is what needs to happen. Night needs to happen. I need to be in a street with a lot of neon signs. I need to wear a trench coat with like a hat, and then kind of have like a really raspy voice and go, "It was just like any other night."
Yeah, or you're just like, from a building across where that little Shibuya walkway is. You're just watching people just cross with the rain.
They're all the same. They're all people.
They're all ants.
The monolith. Okay, anyway, so
right, yeah, rain aside, yeah, things have been good. I mean, like, work has always been busy, but I think as things start progressing, I'm starting to get a lighter workload, which hopefully means that I got more time to catch up on some anime, which I was able to do over the past couple of days, more specifically in the last 24 hours. So we'll be talking about that later on in this episode and possibly for future episodes.
So I have to say, though, I miss our group watching sessions on Discord.
It's been so hard.
I'm not blaming you. I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying that like it was a fact that like we couldn't do it, and it was just unfortunate. That's all.
Yep. I mean, like, work then means that, group sessions have now fallen victim to terrible schedules. Yeah, literally this has been bad timing, right? Like, when I was free, you were studying, and when you're free, I'm at work. So now it's like it's hard to find times. But we were able to watch a couple things last night, so we'll talk about that.
Yeah. By the way, I am praying that summer 2021 is as not good as we say it is. So then we have time to clear all my on hold anime.
Are we gonna finally finish Bakuman?
Will, why are you telling me this now while we're recording?
Are we gonna finally finish Urara?
So, Will, what have you been watching or reading?
So,
God damn it, Will.
Recently on Netflix has actually been rolling out a couple of new shows, some of which are either just recently licensed and floating on the platform, some of which are Netflix produced or Netflix exclusive. One that I've been watching, but I know quite a lot about, and I'm actually very stoked for this other bit of news that we can talk about later. This show specifically is called Shimatsu no Valkyrie, or in English, Records of Ragnarok. So if you ever liked watching those death battles where it's like, oh, what it would be like if Goku fought against Naruto, or if Luffy from One Piece were to fight against Gon from Hunter x Hunter, who would win? And then you have these people with theory crafting and arguing with each other about, oh, like Goku's like Super Saiyan, like he can beat COVID-19, blah blah blah. It's like, no. Let's actually just sit back and enjoy some actual death battles without you guys like shitting on other people because you're a toxic fan base. So, Records of Ragnarok is essentially a manga series that rolled out an anime season. So I think it's got 12 episodes on Netflix now. All 12 episodes are on there. Essentially what it is, it's a battle between the gods and the humans, with the Valkyrie kind of mediating in between. Because they were created by the gods, but the main purpose of Valkyries were to serve humans, were to protect the humans. So then they're kind of caught in between this new meeting between all the gods, where every 1,000 years they decide whether they want to continue the human race or whether they want to destroy the human race. And there's flashbacks of all the wars and famine and all the shady politics that humans have done over the past 1,000 years. And then the gods decide, you know what? We're going to kill everybody. Fuck it. Reset the earth, salt everything down, and we'll just start afresh. The Valkyries come in and say, hey, no. According to this obscure law that you guys created, the humans have a chance to challenge this ruling. And by challenge, it means a 14-on-14 death battle. The gods, of course, scoff and be like, oh, you guys are dumbasses. Like, we're going to fucking wipe you out. Like, we're fucking gods. What do you think? You stand a chance? Yeah, sure, okay, we stand a chance, yeah. So then the humans then pitch their best 14 fighters against the best fighters from the gods, and you just basically watch a god and human slug it out. It's in theory it should be really really good, and I was able to catch a couple of screenshots from like the Spanish versions, from the French versions, because you can go onto Google Books or you can go to like Amazon and like they have like little previews. The artwork looks sick. Some of the battle scenes are fantastic. Unfortunately, the anime does not encapsulate any of that. It's done, for lack of a better words, it's piss poor.
Okay, so I also watched Records of Ragnarok, but I didn't finish it. I watched 2-3 episodes.
I watched up to the second fight, which was like 6 episodes, which is basically halfway through. I think I watched like 6 episodes.
And I think there's only 3 fights. We're not going to say who fights who, but there are 3 fights in the first season.
Look, if you could read Japanese or Spanish or French or wherever it's localized and you can get your hands on Shinmatsu no Valkyrie, Records of Ragnarok, read it.
And in the fall, English speakers will be able to read it as well, because Viz Media announced that they're officially licensing the manga.
That's what I'm most excited about. Like, if you already got a bit of a glimpse of what the anime looks like and you somehow enjoyed it, or you're left wishing for more, fear not. There's going to be an actual good version of this property coming in a couple of months' time.
This is not like OG Master Race kind of thing, because to be honest, actually, the first episode of the anime series, I thought was done okay.
It was actually like very well done.
It's hyped.
It's only when you get to like the fighting animation, which like you kind of wonder, was there any budget left over, or did the people that
was there any budget to start with?
Yeah. To be fair, this whole Netflix thing, we will leave it as another topic of discussion for a future episode, because there's actually a lot to unravel just talking about Netflix and anime.
But needless to say that I feel that the premise of Records of Ragnarok is awesome. And if you were to take away the low budget animation, because it is so unfortunate, to be honest, because if this was, let's say, I think there was like a Reddit comment that I told you about, Will, where it was like, oh, we should grab the Mappa who did God of High School, eliminate God of High School, put all that money into Records of Ragnarok, and then just do that.
Eliminate the storytelling
Yes.
from the anime, because I'm sure I've read some of the webtoon.
God of High School, you're talking about.
Yeah, the manhwa, and it's decent. I quite like it. But then the way that they try and retell the story, it's so rushed and so unstructured that like you're better off just not even caring about the story and just watching the fights.
But the animation quality, though, is really good because it's Mappa.
It's Mappa.
So if
it's Mappa Crunchyroll.
So if they could have put that effort and budget and time and energy into Records of Ragnarok, I think it would have been a pretty unbeatable show.
It would have, but unfortunately, it isn't.
It isn't.
I mean, what are you gonna do, right? Like, if this property literally came out of nowhere, from a studio that's, let's be frank, it wasn't a very big studio.
It was like their first or
the first major work. So, they
get to be bossed around, basically,
pretty much.
So,
like the studio is Graphinica. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Graphinica or whatever it is. This is their first major work they're doing solo, though I'm sure they're getting some support from like a third party studio or a couple of like freelance contributors. For the most part, they usually just like are attached to other bigger projects. So I think as a first showing, let's be real, as the first actual major property, it wasn't bad. Right, like if you talk about like other studios, like Yasuke had Mappa behind them, but at least like the story for Records of Ragnarok was actually good. The animation was great for Yasuke, but like I could not follow it.
Records of Ragnarok, the story is not as obvious as you think.
Yeah, like you think it's just two testosterone filled junkie adrenaline meatheads punching each other to death. In theory, yeah, on paper that's what it sounds like. But actually reading the manga or watching the anime, you'll start to understand there's a bit more to it. In the end, though, it's still very much action heavy, shonen as fuck property, and if that's what tickles your fancy, check it out. Or if you actually want to enjoy it at its best, wait till the manga comes out fully translated in English.
I do have to say though, the Valkyrie, Brunhilde.
Oh, the voice acting actually is really good.
Yeah, Celti. Come on, Celti.
The voice acting was really good.
Celti from Durarara, Kambaru from Monogatari series. Come on.
I think generally, when it comes to the story, the voice acting, the non-fighting animation, it does encapsulate the manga really well. It's just in the end, the fighting scenes are what let it down.
I mean, the death battle. If your fight scenes suck, then what are you doing?
Exactly, right? It's you're trying to tell. It's like in the same vein of Yasuke. You're trying to retell the story of a historical black samurai, but your story sucks. Then what are you doing?
Okay, but what about Wonder Egg Priority? So we finally finished Wonder Egg Priority, except the finished is with an asterisk attached to it because,
as we already know,
there is a special 1 hour special that will be coming out actually several days from now on Funimation.
Yeah, I think by the time this episode comes out, the special will have released,
and we would have likely watched it.
Yeah.
So
I'm clearing my schedule for that day, by the way. So
okay.
I'm making sure that the day it comes out, we're sitting down and watching a full damn hour of the hopeful final episode
and great finale, hopefully, because the finale for the TV series was
without giving away too much
cliffhanger.
Yeah, you just basically it leads it to the point where you have to wait for the special to come out.
And here's the thing that really bothers me, which is they know that they're going to do a 1 hour special because they announced it shortly thereafter. So unless if they hurried up, getting all the paperwork and confirmation, they knew from the get-go. Why couldn't they, at the end, just say, 1 hour special? Announce it. A lot of animes at the last episode of Season 1 would say, hey, see you in Season 2, and then that's the Season 2 announcement.
I know you're giving us blue balls, but give us blue balls for a shorter period of time as opposed to egging us on from
egging?
Yeah.
Wow.
I could have said edging, but that's a little R-rated there, so let's not go
Jesus.
there.
This is a family-friendly podcast.
Is it really?
No.
I mean, you listened to the last episode.
No.
The amount of F-bombs I dropped within the first 15 minutes.
Okay, so it was kind of infuriating, to be honest. And I think the ratings on Mal reflected that because it was doing pretty good ratings, and it dropped significantly since the last episode of the TV series.
The way that we enjoyed it, we did take maybe a 2 or 3 month hiatus from watching Wonder Egg, but jumping back into it, it was the excitement never left.
Yes, exactly.
As soon as you heard the OP, the feels came back.
Yeah,
you were so ready to watch these girls do their shit, and then you just know, watching an episode of Wonder Egg, that something's going to happen, and when it does,
twists and turns, man.
Yeah, you know the twist is coming, but when the twist comes, you're still befuddled. You're still whoa.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this is fucking amazing. What door? And then you think the egg's finally going to crack? Huh? No.
Well, what's the saying? You can't get stuff done until you break a couple. You can't make an omelet until you
crack some eggs.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we're gonna stop.
But then for them, it's also they also put all their eggs in one basket.
Oh, fuck off. Okay, all right. So that is what we've been watching as a group. But I have been watching 2 things solo that I would like to touch on. The first thing is Artist Switch, which was an anime that I mentioned in in the news section a couple episodes back about fashion. And it's apparently free on YouTube. I couldn't find it on any streaming service because it is free on YouTube on the Artist Switch channel. It's
done by Sunrise as well.
Yes, it is.
Which is a pretty reputable studio.
and pretty old too. Like
yeah, they've been in the game for a while.
so it's free
Like
to watch.
early 2000s, late 1990s.
Yeah.
Maybe even earlier than that.
So it's free to watch. There's 2 episodes and a bunch of like behind the scenes or talking with the cast, stuff like that. There's English subtitles and like 8 different languages. So you're gonna be able to watch it.
Basically, it's got that YouTube closed captioning treatment, right?
Which is really good. So it's also a 3D CG anime, but it is also have the pitfalls of a 3D CG anime, which is the low frame rate, like Knights of Sidonia, basically, with polygon pictures. You know, like it's not too fluid.
Yeah.
I can't really tell you what's it about other than it is an anime short, not actually an anime 25-minute episode. So it's like 8 minutes or so per episode. So 2 episodes that are officially released, that's 16 minutes. And it is about, long story short, finding yourself. Girls trying to find themselves. And the character designs were done by a woman named Hiromi Matsuo.
Yeah. So I don't think she's done any major like works, but I did have a look at her portfolio.
Yeah, on her website.
They're pretty good.
They're like that fish eye look, that cute look.
There are points where like it looks a little bit gothic, but with a lot more pink than black. You know what I mean? It's got
I know.
got that like old kind of tinge to
like
it.
Lolita.
Yeah.
So it's very distinctive, and her character designs are used for that anime artist switch. The color palette, super vibrant, super energetic. The music is really good. The OP, as short as it is, they also play it for the ED, is also the same music track. It's really nice.
It just seems like a very straightforward YouTube clip, right? It's not very long. Couple episodes, 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Easy watch?
It's a very easy watch. I just don't think it's a very good... I mean, I don't think it's bad. It's like a 7.
But if it's there, it's there.
It's a 7, 3.5 stars out of 5 stars. 7.5, a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's fine. That's it. And
we're getting to the point now where like 7, which is usually like a passing grade for us, is like whatever.
I mean that's it, right? 6 is like you barely made it, which is like we could have dropped it, but we chose not to. 7 is,
to be fair, I have like a couple 6s. I don't have anything below that because if I did, I would have dropped it already.
Yeah, I mean that's our philosophy, right?
Yeah.
So the other anime that I watched, which premiered on Funimation YouTube in the US for 24 hours, then got pulled, not because it was illegal or anything, but because it only lasted 24 hours, was Sunny Boy.
Yeah, this one I wanted to watch, but I didn't get around to watching it because, busy.
It is an anime that will be premiering very soon for summer 2021. It is produced by Madhouse Studios, which is the topic for this episode.
Yep.
A little teaser.
We're going to get into some real mad shit later.
And then the director and script writer is the person who did One Punch Man Season 1. So the good One Punch Man anime.
There was only 1 season, though.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Sorry.
If you didn't catch this on, listeners, don't watch Season 2.
It doesn't exist, right? Basically.
I don't think there's ever going to be another season of One Punch Man.
No, because it went like no, all the goodwill is gone.
Yeah.
So
hopefully the manga's still selling well, though.
I hope so. I mean, I still think it's like a good concept. But what is Sunny Boy about? I can't really tell you, other than it's a bunch of students in a school with superpowers and Inception and high school problems and distortion of reality. Like, it's basically Inception with superpowers. And if that tickles your fancy, you should watch Sunny Boy.
Yeah, that sounds dope, yeah.
I'm really captivated. It's also really funny that the synopsis, like the plot description, is just so generic. I mean, you read it for bits and pieces. I was listening to it. It was just like, it's just like another day at school, and then they gain superpowers. Oh, it's a death battle. Oh, they're going to fight to survive or whatever. there's turmoil within. Oh God, it sounds super generic, and it is.
I think the formula with my anime list entries when they put in the synopsis is the more generic and bland it is, the more fucked up or the more like batshit insane it's going to be, or you know you're going to enjoy it. Like when we were reading the synopsis to Wonder Egg Priority, it was very bland. Akudama Drive was very bland. Akudama Drive was like, oh, here are a bunch of delinquents who are wreaking havoc in Osaka. Okay.
I remember the plot description for Wonder Egg. Actually, you want to pull that up because while I talk about Sunny Boy.
Yeah, or you talk about that. I'll pull up some stuff.
So Sunny Boy, the first episode is obviously now not on Funimation YouTube anymore because they only did it for 24 hours. I used a VPN, so I was able to access it during that 24 hours. There was no music during the first episode until the very end, which is the OP for the anime. That was in the trailer. I really don't want to spoil anything other than to say, we had Akudama Drive in winter. We had Wonder Egg Priority last 2 seasons ago.
Spring. Oh, no.
Fall.
No, technically.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, fall is Akudama Drive.
Fall is Akudama Drive. Winter is Wonder Egg Priority. VV is
spring.
Spring. Right now. And I'm telling you right now, Sunny Boy is going to be that for summer 2021. It is that good. Or at least it has a lot of promise. I'm intrigued. I'm definitely interested to see where this goes because it's really cool.
Actually, yeah, since the anime came out for Wonder Egg, they've actually like souped up their synopsis, so it's not nearly as bland and dry as it used to be.
Oh, okay, then maybe we shouldn't say it.
Yeah, no, because it actually does give away quite a lot of things. I don't know why they put it on there. It's actually a really big spoiler.
Yeah. So, Sunny Boy, it's really good. If you like Inception superpowers with high school kids, that's what you should expect.
I think it pretty much covers up the stuff we've been watching, right? At least, in terms of stuff that wasn't like research or homework or stuff that we wish to discuss in like actual discussion topics. Unless there's anything else you wanted to talk about, have you been reading anything or watching anything?
I mean, I've been reading a lot of stuff, but it's the thing where you and I both read and watch stuff, but we don't mention every single thing that we read or watch because that is not that interesting sometimes.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to the news then.
Let's move on to the news.
So, Jason, do you like Blu-rays? Yeah, I mean neither. Yeah, so
no. Uma Musume, right?
Yeah, you totally have that on Blu-ray, right?
Horse Derby
was Region 1 unlocked?
Yeah, I contributed to that world record, right?
Yeah, sure.
Actually, that
you're one of what was it
160,000 in the first 2 weeks,
and 50,000 in
week 2.
Yeah.
So, Demon Slayer Mugen Train, the DVD and Blu-ray came out in Japan. And what else is there to say except it broke records again. It sold over 1 million Blu-rays and DVDs in the first 3 days. So Oricon, you know Oricon, right? It's the Japanese ranking that they do for DVD sales and a bunch of rank.
Any like Japanese like physical media. Really.
Or like manga as well.
Yeah.
So your boy Demon Slayer Mugen Train earned the number 1 and number 2 spot in Blu-ray for the special edition and the regular edition.
Yeah, and it's dumb.
And then DVD ranked 1 and 2 for the special edition and the regular edition.
That's like, it's just dumb. Imagine it's like you're a sports team and like you're the best in the world, and the second best team in the world is like your backup squad. Like, there's just no competition, right? What's the point in playing this game anymore? You look at Demon Slayer, it's like everyone is just so fucking like. How do you even maintain confidence anymore? I mean, I know like Evangelion had a bunch of movies come out recently as well, and they also had some Blu-ray sales too. But like, dude, like Demon Slayer is just straight up just wrecking shit.
Look, I watched the movie. I think it's a really good movie. Demon Slayer, we will talk at length about it throughout the existence of this podcast.
We're never going to stop talking about it, I don't think.
Because we can't.
I think for as long as there is going to be like manga yet to be adapted into an anime, and for as long as there's going to be maybe more movies in the future. I don't doubt they're going to keep using this formula. The world's not going to stop talking about Demon Slayer at least for another 4 or 5 years.
Yep. So
Jump need this, by the way. So
yeah. So Demon Slayer is slaying again. We're gonna use that, slaying the box office, and then now slaying DVD and Blu-ray sales.
yeah, it's got a lot of DVDs in circulation. Just like how the next bit of news I want to talk about has also got a lot of manga in circulation.
Yo, okay.
So I'm actually a really big fan of this manga series called Kaiju Number 8, or in English, Monster Number 8. So it's usually like filtered onto the Jump Plus platform, but it's also like on the regular Jump platform, which you can buy hard copies.
No,
of the
no,
manga.
it's not.
You can't buy. You can't buy. So it's only just digital, pure digital.
Yes.
Right. Okay. That makes much more sense then. So it's essentially like a kind of takusetsu, or what's the term for like Japanese live action superhero movies, like the
Sentai?
Ultraman. Sentai's
That's like superheroes,
Sentai's
like Power
I thought
Rangers.
Sentai was the studio that produced that shit.
Yeah, but they also invented that genre. That's why they called it Sentai.
There's
Sentai
another-
is basically Power Rangers.
There's another word for it, I'm sure. But anyways,
There's like monster kaiju fighting, that like Godzilla. That's a separate genre that is starts with T, I think. Anyways, Kaiju Number 8 is the fastest Shonen Jump Plus manga to top 3 million copies in circulation. What that means is the manga plus Jump Plus manga platform that
tokusatsu, that's what it is.
yeah, that's what I knew. Start with T. So we like Spy X Family. You like Spy X Family,
Oh, you like Spy X Family. Everyone likes Spy X Family. Who doesn't like Spy X Family?
and
That
even
shit- yeah,
Spy
that shit
X
needs to come out soon.
and Spy X Family still couldn't beat Kaiju Number 8 in this department where it topped 3 million copies in circulation that fast. I mean, we talked about Jujutsu Kaisen going crazy. So everything is going crazy. And I'm really happy for the mangaka for Kaiju Number 8 because
I fucking love Kaiju Number 8.
I need to read it, but it's available
Look,
on the Jump Plus platform.
If anybody out here is like an Ultraman fan or any of those kind of live action superhero fans, this is a reverse Ultraman. That's basically it. But the guy's still a good guy. It's so good. Go read it. It'll make my day. It'll make the guy's day too.
So that is Kaiju Number 8. Then comes, speaking of manga, so one of the things that I am really, frustrated by is there's always streaming sites for Netflix. So, streaming sites for anime. And one of them is Netflix. Then there's Crunchyroll.
I believe the streaming site for Netflix is called Netflix.
Yo, you're blowing my mind.
Netflix.com/JP or /HK or /US or wherever the world you are.
You also have to add a hyphen and EN for English.
Exactly. But like, if it's like, if you do US-FR, would that mean like American friend? No. You might just actually crash Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, like you said then, right? In terms of like anime, you can go on Crunchyroll, Funimation, High Dive. You can go to Verve if it still exists. I don't actually know.
I think it temporarily still exists.
Or
but
you can just go on to like, you turn your TV, look on Animax or Toonami. You'll find anime to watch.
But there is no through streaming for manga. I mean, there is Jump Plus.
Outside of Jump Plus, right?
There's Jump Plus.
Jump Plus and like the actual the Shonen Jump manga app. They're both really good. I like using them. Manga Plus or whatever it's called.
Yeah, it's Manga Plus. But then there is also Bookwalker, which is sort of the main go-to for digital light novels, manga, so on and so forth. But you have to buy it wholesale.
Yeah.
So you there's no like, hey, I pay, I don't know, $30 per month or something like that, and then have the whole library available.
The price points are very different, right? Like if it's like a Crunchyroll sub or a Netflix sub, it's only a couple dollars a month. I mean, of course, if you sub to all of them, it stacks up, but you have a wide catalog to choose from. Whereas if it comes to manga, if you're not using the Jump Plus platform or if you're not using a localized version, you're paying like $12, $13 for like a single volume of manga.
Yeah, and they're not all centralized.
It
So
might not even be hard copy, right? If it's digital, like hard copies are going to be much more expensive, and like if you're not in like a country where they already readily have it, shipping costs, especially with the COVID economy, is going to be ridiculous.
right, or not even possible to
Yeah,
send it.
like, it might just take you like months before you're going to get your book.
So June 28th, which is a Monday, the manga service Azuki will launch, and it is basically a streaming manga service. And I have the list of their mangas that they are available, when you sign up, because they're in partnership with Kodansha USA, and they're offering titles. It's only $4.99 to read manga without ads to customers. So there's a subscription available, and there are a lot of manga that I like.
I mean, right off the bat, right?
A Sign of Affection is the first thing that shows up, and I was like, yes.
Well, I was actually going to say Ace of Diamond.
Ace
but
of
there's also
Diamond.
Attack on Titan.
There's Air
Fallout,
Gear.
There's Blame.
Okay, we're literally going down, aren't we?
Chihaya
Chihaya Cells at Work.
Fire Force, I guess.
Domestic Girlfriend. Yo. Cardcaptor Sakura.
Oh, they have Grand Blue.
That Boarding School Juliet. Okay, look, we should not keep going, but there is a lot of manga that's available, and
Yo, they got My Little Monster.
yeah, I know.
Hell yeah.
They're actually
They have No Dame Cantabile. Oh yes. Yes. Okay. Yeah. $4.99. Let's do it.
yeah. Basically, I highly recommend this service, even though I haven't used it yet, because it is gonna. I want to support a service that is attempting to stream manga of all different publishers.
I think generally, look, like most people are going to like watching anime because it's probably their first exposure to that kind of industry, right? Like, but when it comes to manga, it's still popular. I wish it was more popular because there's so many manga that I would prefer to read as opposed to watching its anime counterpart. Not like a master race kind of thing, but because it actually is just done better.
Right. So, I need to make a slight correction. The $4.99 US per month is to read without ads. So that's a subscription service. But there's also a free user, so you'll be able to access select chapters with advertisements. So it's kind of like Jump Plus. And then, just to confirm, it's available June 28th on iOS, Android, and web browser in English worldwide, except Japan.
It makes sense
Yeah, it does.
because Japan's probably got like
Their own thing.
Yeah, they got even cheaper subscription platforms, or like they I mean, they have like manga renting cafes too, right? Like,
I mean, we used to have manga renting cafes.
it's a shame they don't really exist anymore.
In Taiwan,
What are books? What's a hard? What are pages? What does it feel to have like a book in your hand now? Because I read everything off my tablet.
isn't it called a phone? I don't understand, Will. What is this book thing you're talking about?
Wait, you're reading manga analog?
What is analog?
Oh,
Oh, shit.
ooh.
Sit down, young one. We need to talk.
What's paper and ink?
Okay, so Azuki is the service that will launch. Will needs to blow his nose. And then we will get into the last news for today, this episode, which is a bunch of mini announcements, which is Netflix had a live stream event called Geeked Week, and they announced 4 anime projects.
One of them, which is actually pretty interesting, because the first thing I saw was Clamp.
So
I haven't seen Clamp in a while.
let's start with that then. So Clamp is a group of mangakas that I think are all women.
Yep.
And they made a lot of really well-known properties like Cardcaptor Sakura, XXX Holic.
Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicles also part of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Chobits?
I think Chobits is also
Yes.
Clamp. Yeah, I think
And
so.
then Clover, X, a bunch of stuff. They are now going to adapt the Grimm fairy tales, and Wit Studio is on board.
Isn't that just crazy? Grimm, Clamp, with Studio, like that, like in terms of
It's like a match made in heaven.
in terms of like a team to work with, that just sounds fucking ridiculous.
That is what Netflix can do, for better or for worse, right? They just have that clout. They can just say like, yo, we want A plus B plus C, and let's see what you guys can make.
I think we've talked about this before, right? Like Netflix is still trying to find that one hitter, that big series where it's like they can create a whole new fan base immediately.
Yeah, and we actually will talk about it in a later episode. We actually have it planned, so
Yep.
stay tuned for that. And
Other things, yeah, you got a few other things announced too, right? Like I think of a new anime series called Exception.
so that one, there's only a cover, like, I don't know, just one artwork. And all I have to say is it looks horrific and it looks Dead Space as fuck. So even the storyline is a bunch of people on a spaceship and then bad shit happens. It's basically Dead Space. It's basically Aliens or Alien. So I'm weirdly excited for it.
It kind of reminds me of the art styles of Ben Templesmith, who did
Yes.
who did
Yes.
30 Days of Nights
And Dead Space.
and Singularity. Yeah, he did. No, I don't think he did the Did he do the 30 Days of Night Dead Space edition?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
I think he did. Okay.
Like the really rough
Yeah.
drawing, but it's also kind of crazy.
I think he's also done some Silent Hill as well.
I'm not surprised. He's
Yeah.
like the horror king, in my opinion, in comics.
Like you said, it looks really rough, but like it works.
It looks scary.
I think like that's the thing. Like when you try and like get too close to realism, like that's when things get a little bit distorted for you. Like it's like this is animated, this is drawn, so it shouldn't look real. Therefore, Ben's like, fuck it, okay, I won't make it real. I'll just make it horrific, and it bloody fucking works.
So I'm just weirdly excited just to see how it turns out. Maybe it will work out, maybe it won't. But I'm willing to give it a shot.
But like, let's just. But the
Are you reading the synopsis?
as far as synopses go,
Oh, dude,
it's
the best.
it's so dumb.
Dude, it's so good. Okay, go.
In the distant future, human beings have been forced to leave Earth and migrate to another galaxy. An advanced team of spacecraft arrives at a planet that is to be terraformed. Each member of the team is output by a biological 3D printer.
Okay, so here's the thing. When I was reading that, there was different states of mind. So I was reading, I was just like, oh, in the distant future, human beings, oh, it's a bit to be terraformed.
Everyone is an output of a biological 3D printer.
That's when I flipped my shit.
What the fuck?
That's when I flipped my shit. I was like, biological 3D printer, what is... I was like, I need to know. We need to know. Okay, so that's Exception. Then there is Make My Day, which is a film, and I think it's also about space. The picture looks, the concept art they showed looks pretty cool. The thing that I have to say, though, it is designed by the people who did Macross, and also a series that I would like to watch because I heard lots of good things about it, which is Flip Flappers.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Fooly Cooly.
I don't really like. I think Fooly FLCL
Overrated?
is okay.
Okay.
I think it's okay. I think it's fine. I know I might get a lot of hate for that, but hey,
It's okay. I haven't watched it yet either.
so it's a Taiwanese.
I heard that Fooly Cooly Progressive was trash.
I heard that it was trash as well. So, Taiwanese 3D CG Studio 5 Inc. is going to animate it, and immediately I was like, is this going to be like Knights of Sidonia? So, I think Knights of Sidonia, the manga is pretty good, but the look of the anime, well, you've heard it before, and if you haven't, it's very jarring because it's not as fluid animation, but all the background and everything is fluid. So, we'll see how that goes. Maybe it'll work out. And then I left the weirdest one for last.
Which I'm very excited about because I've been watching a couple of reality TV shows recently as well.
Wait, what are you talking about?
I mean, like I watch stuff on the side. I mean, like, if you ever watched like Bling Empire or Selling Sunset on Netflix, no. Well, what if you did like a reality TV show, but you also incorporated
No. Will. No,
No,
we're not even done with Netflix yet.
No, who cares about Netflix?
Okay, all right, yeah.
Let's talk about this now.
Oh, okay,
I'm pretty sure that if they actually, no, they're not going to put it on Netflix because they actually have a platform ready for it anyway.
I was gonna talk about the Will Smith
Who cares about
Bright Samurai Soul.
Who cares about Will Smith? Even Jada doesn't care about Will Smith.
So, Will, do you like manga? Do you think you have what it takes to create manga?
Hell no.
Do you
But I would definitely try if I was given the opportunity to.
do you have an idea that just need that extra push, that extra?
So imagine like if you just have you ever watched Will Smith's Bright?
Wait, we're like jumping back. Oh god,
Okay,
this
yeah.
is terrible.
Okay. We'll talk about the Will Smith thing and then we'll go.
No,
back into
we're
the-
not.
Okay,
Fuck it.
fuck it.
Fuck it.
We'll do it live. So
Shonen Jump Plus is gonna get a reality show where they're trying to find the next big manga creator star.
doesn't that just sound fucking insane?
That is so crazy.
I'm so down to watch that. Usually, you know that like most reality TV show is trash. I've watched some Japanese ones. By God, they're just as bad. But this, on the other hand, if it's going to be trashy, expected. But they're looking for the next big manga star, right? Like,
So the program will follow 6 teams, each with a manga creator and a Sueisha manga editor, as they compete in 4 challenges. So one of the teams has a manga writer and a manga artist instead of one creator. So like in that sense, there's 2 creators in that sense. The winning manga creator will receive a prize of 5 million yen, which is $45,000
really not that much
which
money.
is really not that much money. And here's the really messed up part: the opportunity to serialize their manga on Shonen Jump Plus. So it's not even guaranteed. It seems. I mean, that's the wording, right? It's like you have the opportunity, but we may not like it, even though you win. Like, here you go, take the 45K and just get the hell out of here.
Yeah. But I think like it's cool though. Imagine it's like you have like up and coming like manga artists, and then you go to the competition, and then you have like these seasoned veterans that are like pick and choosing their teams, and then they get the end, and like who is there to judge your shit other than the mangaka for fucking Hell's Girl,
Hell's Paradise,
Hell's
and Chainsaw Man.
Yeah, Fujimoto, is it Fujimoto or Fujimoto?
Fujimoto.
Yeah.
Tatsuki Fujimoto.
What's funny? Actually, it's kind of funny that the voice actress that's going to be the MC for the show is Gabby from Attack on Titan.
Just don't do this to me.
Yeah, she's also Uraraka from My Hero Academia, the little floating girl.
No, I know who she is. It's just I'm just like looking at her.
To be fair, most of the time, whenever like you have like MCs for these reality TV shows, they're not necessarily people who have. Again, I'm not besmirching the integrity of Ayane Sakura. She's a wonderful VA. It just so happens that the internet really hates one of the characters she voices, not because of her, but because of the character itself.
Yeah, so there you go. That is all the news.
Manga and anime is fucking weird sometimes, but it also brings up-
Sometimes. I'm sorry. Sometimes.
yeah, just sometimes.
I don't know. I'm really peppy today.
No, but I think for sure, like only sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. I mean, dude, like each member of the team is output by a biological 3D printer.
We're going back to Exception.
Right?
Yeah, man. It is so weird. I love it.
Like they write it in a way, and this is not even
Hey,
like this,
they had us 3/4 of the way, and then the last quarter they're
got
just
us,
like,
yeah.
yo.
This is Netflix, by the way. This is how Netflix described the story. They're so confused as to what they're watching that like this is the best they can come out with. But that's actually it, right? Like,
No,
we said it before,
okay.
the more confusing and the more like weird, like or like incomprehensible a plot or a synopsis is.
So I'm going to tell you what I predict was the board meeting, right? So then they all sit down, they're all with like the suits on one side, and then all like the loose fitting clothes of the mangaka,
With the ruffled hair, 'cause they haven't slept in, like, 2
and then there's
days.
like piles and piles of drawings all over the place, and then there's like
And then you have a production assistant standing on the side. She's got like a stack of papers in her hand.
she's wearing her headphones because she couldn't take it off in time. There is like a screen, for your present.
Did she have a piece of toast in her mouth as well, or no?
No, because she ate it on the way
Okay,
here.
right.
Right. That would have been anime as fuck too. So then there is like the screen, right? And then they sort of do slideshow PowerPoint presentation and whatnot. And then they go by the biological 3D printer, and then they just skipped it like really fast. And then one of the suits is like,
Wait.
what?
Is
Go back, please. Go back, please.
is that what I think it is? Is that a biological 3D printer?
And then they're like, what is this? And then, okay, so then we fast forward. The deal is finalized. The announcement is going to be made. And then the synopsis has to be written. And this generic, intern is going to write this synopsis. And then I could just hear the creator of Exception just put his hands behind his or her shoulder and being like, just add in the biological 3D printer. Just do it for me, please.
It's like being in a an elementary school play, and the best actor is tree number 2. Like, this is it. This is what we're looking at right now. It's like, don't worry about the monsters. Don't worry about all the crazy space body horror there is. Let's talk about that 3D biological printer.
No, I'm just saying, like, it is so generic, and then they're just like, no, come on, just add a little flair. Just do it for me. I know the execs at Netflix is saying, don't do it, but come on. You just press send, and that's it. Post, and that's it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
To be fair, we go back onto it, looking at the poster for it, it looks fucking gruesome.
That's what I said, right? It is Dead Space. It is Dead Space. It is Aliens. It looks like it, at least.
This is a Ben Templesmith wet dream. I'm ready for it.
I'm ready for it. So
way more. Oh, actually, no. Did we talk about anything for Junji Ito's upcoming anime? Because you and I both watched the
Uzumaki.
Yeah, we and I both watched the trailer for it, right?
It was okay. So they had Uzumaki, which is Spiral, I think, is the
literally Spiral, yeah.
and then it is done by the most famous horror mangaka of all time, Junji Ito. Will and I love Uzumaki to death, and for better or for worse, a lot of Junji Ito animes really suck.
You watched the live action though for it, right? Uzumaki?
For Spiral, yeah, like when I was like in high school, it was dope. It was pretty gruesome too.
Yeah, but the trailer looked. I mean, okay, again, it's not much of a trailer as opposed to like more like a 25-30 second expose of what it's gonna look like,
and then the rest of it being the director talking. So that 30 seconds look great though,
dude. It literally,
it's a manga in motion, but it's fluid. It's nice.
Like we talked about, for example, like Way of House Husband, where it's a manga in motion, but it was more like detracting from like the enjoyment of it. We're more like, yo, this actually kind of sucked. Whereas this is different.
This looks like the manga actually came to life.
Yeah.
Okay, granted, it's only like 20 seconds of like I would assume would be the first episode because she walks into the town. So
it could just be the best it's going to be, right? But for those 20 seconds, yo, it should look great.
It was dope. So, unfortunately, I mean, this is just off the cuff. Now, when we're talking about Uzumaki, the reason why they premiered that 12-minute trailer with the 30-second clip is because due to COVID-19, they're gonna push it to October 2022.
Yeah. So a whole year and a half from now. Hey, man.
Hey, Halloween. We're going to do a Halloween episode. We're going to talk about Uzumaki.
Yeah,
for better or for worse.
Halloween episode next year. That's going to be a while.
Hey,
but
we'll be still doing this, right?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's going to be a long time before we get to watch it. To be fair, though, it's like, before I was like, I don't really care if it does come out because I already have like high expectations of it anyway, and I don't want it to be ruined, so I might as well just not deal with it. But the fact that like the trailer actually looked pretty sick, now it's like, okay, I'm back on the hype train now. But the train is waiting for a year and a half before leaving the station.
So do you know what you can do in the meantime, though, Will? So hear me out, okay?
Right.
So manga. I have a dope idea.
I thought you were going to do word associations like manga, okay, anime, all right.
We just go to Shonen Jump Plus, and have an anime. No, sorry, not anime. Have a manga based off of printers, and then all the printers communicate with each other.
Wait, is this some sort of like...
And then they rebel against the humans.
This is a dystopian like workplace horror, right?
And then there is a moment where the biological 3D printer prints out people to fight the people.
But as it's printing, it's doing that dial-up tone from the 90s.
Yes. And then all of a sudden someone drops an ink blot, and then it melds into... Okay, I'm just going to stop.
Keep going. This sounds like a plausible plot for a manga.
The machines will rise.
I will tell you this: based on that synopsis, it's already better than 90% of what Shonen Jump Plus platform has. Because a lot of them are going to get canceled in a year. It's true. A lot of their shit's been canceled. There's only a couple of things that are actually still going well for them. The best move for them actually was moving Chainsaw Man over to Jump Plus. That was like the best move they made, and I'm sure it's going to make them millions.
Okay, so how are we doing on time?
We're fine, dude. We got like
Okay. I will say this: I did read a manga, Soloist in a Cage. It's really good.
okay.
Soloist in a Cage is on Jump Plus. All 20 chapters. There's only 20 chapters,
Right.
from beginning to end. It's all available for free, so you don't even need a subscription service. You can just read it.
Same thing with Kaiju number 8, by the way.
That's correct. So it's really good. All I gotta say is, when you want to see a woman / like adult lady fuck shit up in a really fucked up prison world, because basically they put okay, sorry, let me rephrase. Soloist in a Cage takes place in a weird future where all the prisoners are placed in one place. So
that I would imagine that's what a prison would be like, right?
no, but then they can't leave ever. So then within that confine, they created a city and a community with their own rules and laws, all protected by a wall with guards. It's not Attack on Titan. Don't look at me like that.
Shit.
Just
fuck.
shut,
I was gonna ask when the
just,
Titans are gonna
just,
pop
just
in.
shut the fuck up. And then it's about a girl who escapes, but then she had to
You're just describing the plot to Dead Man Wonderland, right?
she abandoned her younger brother who's a baby. She then escapes successfully with a bunch of people. She then learns how to become a badass assassin, then decides to commit a crime to go back in the prison world to go find his brother.
This is exactly Dead Man Wonderland. This is Rainbow. But I don't think either of them are on Jump Plus.
And it doesn't star Kudere. Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, Dead Man Wonderland has a yandere,
Yeah, so
which is more for me.
So Soloist in a Cage. It's rated really high. It's like 7.94 or something.
As far as manga go, that might as well be an 8.6, 8.7. Usually, like when it comes to manga, like if it's above a 7.6 for me, it's worth checking out.
Hold on, let me type in Soloist in a Cage. Well, we're doing a lot of off the cuff stuff today.
Hey, come on, man! Like we're getting good at this. We don't have to run it through a script.
Okay, 7.88. It dropped actually.
That's still great though, right?
It's still really good.
Like a 7.88 manga, like I find would be more enjoyable than a 7.88 anime, even though like the anime itself would still be good.
You're all right? Is this like allergies or something?
It could be.
Sorry, listeners. So anyways, I think that's it for our what we've been watching and news section.
I'm basically suffering from anime withdrawals. I haven't watched enough anime in the past 2 weeks, and now I'm suffering from it.
Just okay.
Which is why I spent the last night watching like almost 3 hours of anime movies just to catch up, and it felt great.
I was like, I need to bail out halfway through. But hey, we watched all the stuff we needed.
Yeah, but at the same time, we're now going to take a break, and then after the break, we're going to talk about stuff that you need to watch, but more specifically breaking down a specific studio's works and which one you should really watch, and maybe some that maybe you should steer away from.
So, long story short, don't watch Records of Ragnarok. Watch Wonder Egg Priority if you haven't already, so you can watch the 1 hour special and gush about it with us.
Buy the Records of Ragnarok manga when Viz finally gets them published in English.
Or if you are in your respective countries and it is officially published, you should...
It's crazy that like places like Spain, Mexico, and France got the fucking manga, but like the US doesn't.
Because they basically know what's up.
Maybe it's also because the market's smaller, so it doesn't cost them as much to localize it.
Or they just think it's dope.
Yeah. Actually, I think Blue Lock might have been already translated in French before it got into English.
Well,
makes sense.
So, Sunny Boy's really good. I'm excited for the premiere in summer 2021.
Hold on to your butts and get ready for the 1 hour special for Wonder Egg Priority.
I just said that.
Sorry, my mind is racing right now because I'm trying to like remember everything you said in the past 5 minutes.
Demon Slayer Blu-rays and DVDs are destroying everything. A bunch of Netflix announcements. Kaiju number 8 is really good. There's a reality TV show. Why am I repeating this? What are we doing? Let's take our break.
Yeah. I think we're both kind of losing it.
A biological 3D printer.
Each member is an output.
Okay, we'll be back after the break.
Yeah, all right. Catch you in like a minute or two. Listening to the second half of the Good Anime Palette Podcast, episode 11. I've finally taken my pills and I finally calmed down, got my thoughts collected. By pills, I mean some extra strong Panadol that Jason got from Australia.
I am Jason, printed from a biological 3D printer.
What model?
I don't know.
Fujitsu?
Zero.
Zero.
I'm type 0.
You were just printed out from a Xerox printer.
Yeah, man. Layer by layer.
Actually, have you ever used a 3D printer? You probably have.
Yes, man.
Yeah,
my research thesis is about 3D printing, dude.
Yeah. I would like to buy one, but like, I mean, like one of the good ones, not one of those shitty ones that make terrible models. Anyway, back onto the podcast. So, we mentioned a couple names earlier in the episode, talking about, like, for example, a specific studio, Madhouse, and that's going to be the focus of today's discussion topic. So, if you aren't familiar with Madhouse, which I think would be crazy if you haven't come across them before, they were a titan of a studio back in the late 2000s, early 2010s. Had produced a plethora of really, really, just record-breaking, just like high-scoring anime series
of all different genres, and it's from all different types of creators.
We aim to talk about a lot of the shows that, if you haven't watched, which we think, again, would be kind of crazy, we will fully endorse them. There are going to be, of course, some pitfalls in talking about this studio, because not everything has been rosy with Madhouse. In fact, there have actually been a lot of stumbling blocks and just issues over the past 10 years when it comes to running Madhouse Studio. So we'll talk about, the heyday, we'll talk about its inception, and then we'll talk about the fall and potential revival of Madhouse.
So Madhouse Studios, as Will mentioned, is a titan back in the heyday and is kind of coming back now in terms of relevancy. There is, as Will said, I'm almost 100% sure that you have watched a Madhouse Studio anime. If you're even into anime, you must have. You just didn't know. So, Madhouse Studios is a very important studio, not only in the context of anime back then in the 2010s, or even 1980s even?
Well, it was founded in 1972.
Right. All the way till the mid-2010s, when it kind of had the fall, as we would say. We would refer to it as the fall.
But at that time as well, 2015, like literally in the middle of the 2010s, that's some of the greatest shows that has ever graced the earth.
And now it will seem to be coming back with a vengeance.
We hope so. I certainly hope so. I would hate to see studios going bust, or studios not reaching the pinnacle that it once had. Of course, financial troubles, COVID, changes in industry. These things are hard to predict, but at the very least, there's always opportunity for studios to come back, or at least to restructure and be able to get back to some level of consistency.
So, Will, when was Madhouse Studio conceived and born?
1972.
So there was a bunch of Mushi Pro animators that left the company Mushi Pro, and they decided to form an anime studio in 1972. This includes Masayo Maruyama, Osamu Dezaki, Rintaro, which is a pseudonym for Shigeyuki Hayashi, and also Yoshiaki Kawajiri.
Impeccable pronunciation.
Oh, I was like sweating bullets a little bit.
Right. So, Madhouse. Why the fuck are they called Madhouse?
So there is some controversy as to where the name come from, which, of course, I tried to scour the web to try to find a bunch of claims. So some say that it is based off of the Matsudo House in Chiba Prefecture, when the others claim it stands for Mayuyama and Dezeki or other similar acronyms. In any case, the name has been the same for its entire existence, besides a minor change from Madhouse Limited to Madhouse Incorporated in 1999.
It's probably a business decision then, right?
Probably, yeah. So apparently one of these naming theories is that Masayo Maruyama, the M-A in Maruyama, and then the Osama Dezaki
Mad
with the D, and then the Shigeyuki Hayashi, the H in Hayashi, is the Madhouse, which is hilarious because to me, the last founder, Kawajiri, had like no contribution to the name.
But I'm sure he contributed a lot to the company.
If anything, he is the last one standing.
Who cares? I mean, in terms of like how the name came about. In the end, like, you know, it Madhouse stands on its. You don't necessarily care about how it started off in terms of its name. You care about how it started off in terms of its works, and it's got a very stellar portfolio.
So, when you think of conceiving a company, or in this case, an anime studio, you would think of an office building. You would think of, or like in someone's house, even, you know, very old school, or like, you know, the equivalent of like programmers programming in the back of their garage. You know, so. Madhouse Studios' first office was set up in a former bowling alley near Minami Asagaya Station in Tokyo. And I just find that, I don't know, I just find that like pretty crazy. And it gets even crazier because I wrote a note here, is that 43 years later, Death Parade happened. I will get to what Death Parade is, but I just thought that was a pretty funny tidbit.
Spoiler alert, Death Parade is fucking fantastic.
So, whenever Will and I or anybody else mention Madhouse, they inevitably will get to the topic of the dip or the fall of Madhouse. And even this fall, where that happens, is debatable. Some people say it started in 2008. Some people say it started in 2011. Some people say it started in between. Needless to say that there is a very different Madhouse studio before the 2008 to 2011, and then after the 2008 to 2011 time period.
And it's not so much down to like animation quality either. Like in terms of like the shows that came in before that time and after that time, it's been consistent. Some of the stuff that came out in 2015 was probably the best they ever produced, but the state of the company is very far from what it was once, right?
So we're not going to bother you with like all this wiki.
We're not going to tell you like
regurgitation,
what their height revenue was, their earnings, how they pay their people. No, that kind of number crunching is just not interesting to us,
and not interesting to you guys as well, I presume. And if you are interested, you can check it out. But what I will tell you for people who like anime is that a bunch, and I mean not one or two, a plethora of people, talented people, had their main start at Madhouse Studios. This is pre-2008 to 2011 Madhouse. So people like Satoshi Kon.
I think you can't talk about Madhouse without talking about Satoshi Kon.
Satoshi Kon is the movie director for Paprika, for Tokyo Godfathers, Millennium Actress, Perfect Blue, and his TV series Paranoia Agent. All of this was made at Madhouse Studios. Unfortunately, he died in 2010, which is unfortunate, but he was, what would you say, Will, the visionary of mindfuckery.
You don't get any more mind bending and twisting than Satoshi Kon. I mean, there's probably going to be people that are on his level or close to his level, but he was one of the first to do it.
I mean, Netflix has Paprika the movie. You should just...
I think it's also got Perfect Blue.
And Perfect Blue. you should just watch clips or just Google clips of Paprika, and you will understand how mindfuckery Satoshi Kon's style is.
Or you can just watch the whole damn series of Paranoia Agent.
And we love Paranoia Agent.
It's so weird, but it's so good.
So Satoshi Kon was going to make his 5th film, The Dreaming Machine, with Madhouse, but unfortunately, due to his untimely death in 2010, it was left incomplete. And to this day, we will never really know what it could have been.
Which, to be fair, is out of respect, right? Like you just don't want to mess with someone's work and like be like, well, this is how he wanted to carry on his legacy.
I mean,
it's
same thing with the Berserk mangaka, right?
It's like, okay, you want to carry on his legacy, but is that what they wished for as well? Like, I'm pretty sure they want to be the ones who actually crafted it with their own hands and mind, right? So, best to leave it as is and just enjoy what he has already produced, right? Like your Perfect Blue, like your Paranoid Agent, like your Paprika. There's a lot of P's.
Yeah. So another person of note, there's several, but we're going to go through them, is Takashi Koike, which is considered a protege of one of the founders, which is Kawajiri. You may not know who this person is, but after this episode, you will.
He plays a very important part in the history of Madhouse Studio.
But his first main break, was he directed the pilot episode of Afro Samurai. So if you're into Western, animation.
Look, if you like Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, exactly. He directed the pilot episode. Enough said. And he
not Samuel L. Jackson, of course. We're talking about
Afro Samurai. Yeah. He also Koike is also the key animator for a lot of Madhouse's work. And I think still to this day. No, actually not still to this day. And I'll actually wait. Yeah, I take that back. Still not to this day, but back then he did a lot of key animations, which we explained in our How It's Made anime edition. I think it's episode 9, Will, right? Key animation is the important scenes and moments in an anime that you draw out. So they're sort of the base of foundation in which in between animation and added effects are then added to connect all these key animations. So it's a pretty important role. And of course, his infamous contribution,
one of our personal favorites, to be fair,
is directing a movie in 2009 called Red Line. I can't believe I messed it up.
You almost said Mad Max.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Red Line is the movie that he directed. And we will actually get into that movie because it contributes a lot to the history, as Will said.
Yep.
Then comes the wacky guy, Masaki Yuasa.
My boy.
So
the Fukuoka legend himself.
So we actually we're doing I'm going to tell a little bit inside baseball. We're doing a double recording today. And it would be an after dark specifically focused on Masaki Yuasa.
Yeah.
Because he is just that influential and just that good.
Well respected. Very well respected.
Very well respected. He directed Kimonozume, Kaiba, and Tatami Galaxy at Madhouse Studios. So, and then he later on founded his own studio, which we will get into in the After Dark.
Well, Madhouse definitely played a very important part in his career.
Yes. Then there is Mamoru Hosoda.
One of the titans when it comes to anime movie production.
One of my favorite anime movie directors. So, The Girl Who Leapt Through Time in 2006, Summer Wars in 2009, and Madhouse also co-produced Wolf Children in 2012 with Hosoda's own studio that he founded later on called Studio Chizu. Each of these films, but particularly Summer Wars and Wolf Children, is one of the best anime movies that I've seen in my entire life currently. And I stand by that statement. So, then there's Clamp.
Yeah, we briefly mentioned Clamp earlier, but they also had a pretty big part when it comes to the history of Madhouse. Not so much like the studio itself, but the productions.
So they collaborated a lot. Madhouse Studios collaborated a lot with Clamp, with Tokyo Babylon, X, Clover, Cardcaptor Sakura, and Chobits. So it's not just like one or two. It's like a bunch of IPs, right?
But these are all just like the notable producers, the notable directors.
Then comes the stuff that I think almost every single anime fan at some point will consume, or at least definitely like 100% know of. So things like Death Note. I put that first because who doesn't know what Death Note is?
Who hasn't written in a Death Note before? I had a Death Note when I was in high school.
Really?
Yep. Didn't work.
Okay.
I don't remember whose name I wrote in there.
So, this is a side note. There are like manga stores in Kowloon that you can buy the Death Note, right?
Yeah.
So, if you really want to
I think
relive
there was
your
a period
dream.
of time when like high schools actually, schools in general actually banned people from bringing the
Yes.
Death Note into school.
I remember that because it promoted.
Bro, it was crazy.
So Hunter x Hunter, come on.
One of my favorites. Very, very good. I don't think it's ever going to continue adapting the manga because the manga itself has been on hiatus for 3-4 years now. But
It's as good as dead.
it's all on Netflix. You just watch all of it, all 145 episodes.
The remaster, right?
Yeah, the 2011 one, the one that was done, in all 1080p, glorious animation. Oh, it's so good.
Then comes what I consider okay, it's not the same level, but I consider it the female Berserk, which is Claymore. It's not at the same level, but if I had to say it in one sentence, it is like the grittiness and dark nature of Berserk, but stars a female.
It's female
knight.
guts.
Female guts, yeah.
I watched an episode of that. But just because I've read some of the manga and like, to compare it, no, it's almost similar in the sense of how the hell you're gonna compare like the anime of Berserk with the manga of Berserk. It's just tough. But I think that they still did a decent job. I'll get more into it later on. But there's still a lot of other things they also did, right? So they've also
And then
done,
your favorite series,
yeah,
Black Lagoon.
wow, it's so good. There's also Paradise Kiss.
Paradise
That-
Kiss,
yeah,
I actually really like a lot.
right.
The manga, I don't think I can find the anime version anywhere.
Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of the shows that we will talk about, not all of them are in circulation anymore, or like none of them are like picked up by a studio.
Or like you have to buy like the DVD and there are like hundreds and hundreds of dollars because they're out of print because Madhouse either won't release them or
Well, it's just licensing. Right?
Yeah,
it's in the end, like who's going to decide to fork over the money to get this distributed in the U.S. or the U.K. or wherever.
But one of the most, in fact, look, Death Note, Hunter x Hunter, definitely well known. But for me personally, someone who likes shoujo and Yuri Girl Love, Nana is the most important piece of work.
Yeah, Salt, right?
Boys, get him out of here.
Okay, so I'll be continuing the rest of this episode on my own then. Oh, you're back. Okay, cool. Right. So
Beck.
Beck is also another one of those, maybe not as well known as Nana, but like I knew about Beck.
Unfortunately, the director for Beck died recently, I think like a month or two ago.
Yeah.
So rest in peace. Satoshi Kon, rest in peace as well. But Beck was a very influential anime, and I think it's based on a manga.
Yeah, Mongolia Chop Squad, is that the
Yeah, it's
full
like
name?
Beck, Mongolian Chop Squad,
There's also Gunslinger Girl.
which is an anime that I actually watched and really enjoyed. It's on Funimation. I will talk about it later. It's based on a manga. Then comes the one that I actually really, 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 really want to watch.
The only issue is that while you can stream it or you can rent it, it's only in dubbed.
Technolize.
Yeah, you can only find the English dub for it, at least here in Hong Kong.
So Technolized is, at least the art is made by the Serial Experiment Lane guy. And it's about dystopian cyberpunk future with prosthetics. And since I majored in prosthetics, I have a soft spot for those sorts of things. But we couldn't really find it anywhere. So we'll see. Maybe that will change. But for the time being, that is... And here's the crazy part, Will. That's all pre the fall of Madhouse Studios.
And we're not, we definitely didn't include all of the works. These are the ones that are probably the most notable ones. There are still dozens of other shows, other movies that Madhouse has
5
done.
pages in our docket. I put all of their works. 5 pages of sentences
I mean, it's what happens when you've been working for over 40 years.
from 1973 till current.
Yeah.
So it's insane. And obviously, like the old anime stuff is really hard to to find, and we won't even bother because
Generally, we'll be talking about more contemporary stuff. Even if we talk about stuff that was in the 2000s, that's still going to be pretty ancient. But a lot of it still holds up today.
So now we have to talk about chronologically what I would consider the year that Madhouse kind of is at a tipping point. So everyone, as
the needle that broke the camel's back, essentially.
So 2008, 2011, of course, everyone says is that time period. It's debatable who you ask. For me personally, 2009 was the year that Madhouse kind of crumbled. And that is because of a movie called Redline.
Now, we've talked about Redline before, especially in the sports episode. It's one of our favorites when it comes to anime movies, anime in general.
I think it is one of the top 10 anime movies in my personal top 10. Yeah, it's just,
like it's so artistically beautiful. The music, it's great. You can tell that the people who were behind the project really felt passionate about it. But unfortunately, passion doesn't equal money.
So the film took 7 years to make. It's been in production for 7 years, and it used 100,000 hand-drawn frames. I repeat, 100,000 hand-drawn frames. That's mind-boggling to me that someone would go to that length. Remember Koike?
Takeshi Koike?
Yeah, the Afro Samurai director for the pilot episode.
Yeah, this was like his major breakthrough,
his
right?
major directorial debut.
Yeah.
He was fired after the production of the movie because of the cost that associated with the movie.
So 100,000 frames, 7 years of work. The budget must have been crazy for this, right?
A budget of $30 million US. Now, in the US, that may sound like just like an indie film, for example. But for an anime, that is... And at that time, because, if you discount inflation... Oh, God. That $30 million. That's crazy. Then, how much did it gross? A total of $8.2 million. So they lost a shit ton of money.
Barely 30%. Not even 30%. So it was far off from even meeting the lowest of low bars.
So even though it may not be a huge loss for a big U.S. movie studio Paramount or Warner Brothers.
Loads of studios big movies that just do not meet their budget.
But for anime studios, if you don't make your money back at the very least, which is already a loss in many ways, you're done. Or you're you might as well consider bankruptcy, especially if you're a small studio. And this is the crazy part. That $30 million does not account for promotion and advertisements. So that number is higher. So they lost a lot of money. Now, it didn't do very well theatrically, $8.2 million, and this is just hearsay, it got a cult following. And Will and I are one of the cult members.
Yeah.
We really like Redline.
We drank the Kool-Aid.
We drank the Kool-Aid, but we're not dead yet. Yet. So, it was a cult classic. The DVD and Blu-ray apparently did really... Actually, speaking of not owning any Blu-rays, I would consider buying Redline Blu-ray, to be honest.
Let's get it, dude. Put it into the collection.
We'll check on Amazon.com after the...
Probably going to cost a lot of money.
Actually, why don't you check it?
Yeah, okay.
While I talk. So, this was the final nail in the coffin for Studio Madhouse. But, to be fair, Redline was not the sole reason for Studio Madhouse's financial troubles. They already were in the red for, what was it, two quarters? So, they were already not doing too good.
Okay, just to interject, not expensive at all. $140 Hong Kong for a brand spanking new Blu-ray.
Say that again?
140 Hong Kong dollars. That's 16, 17 bucks US.
Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Is there a limited edition?
There's a Prime version. There's also just the regular DVD version, which is only $60.
What's so good about the Prime version?
I have no idea. Maybe it's got promotional art. It's got some other rough sketches and all that.
2 copies? Let's get 2 copies.
Yeah, we can look into it. Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, Red Line is a really good movie, but it really costs the studio a hefty price.
Yeah, I think when it comes to like working on passion projects, I think it'd be really hard pressed to say that this was a passion project. I think for sure, like when producing Red Line, they were expecting that this movie would make money, but you could also tell that like a lot of passion went into producing this work. Unfortunately, passion doesn't pay the bills. And so you're making a massive loss.
It also reminds me of Kizu Monogatari, which is the set of movies for the Monogatari series. The main director for Bakemonogatari, who is the director for Kizu Monogatari, had to go through like 7 years of production hell in order to make Kizu Monogatari.
I mean, that movie series only came out recently, right?
No. Like late 2010s.
That's still more recent than like all the stuff that came out beforehand, though, right? Like when did Bakemonogatari start out?
Oh yeah, because it took forever for it to get made. Yeah. So production hell can really drive up the budget and cost, and you don't even know where the light at the end of the tunnel is. Because think about it, right? It's like sunk costs. Like, okay, you're 3 years in. Okay, it's gonna get done, but we can't recoup those 3 years, so we might as well see it through. And then comes year 4, and then year 5, and then year 6, and then it's just, and everyone gets demotivated, and hope is all lost. And then it comes out, and then it does poorly, and the director gets fired. Like,
yeah, but you can't put all the blame on Kaike. You can't put it all.
No,
right?
because the studio was in, as I said, the studio was in the red for 2 quarters with a total loss of $25.7 million,
which is like the death sentence for most anime studios, big or small.
And this just comes to show how much of a titan Madhouse was. The fact that it is, even though it's not the same as it was, the fact that it's still left standing is a testament to just how big and influential and powerful Madhouse Studio was. So, in order to stop them declaring bankruptcy, Nippon TV, known as NTV, bought a bunch of shares. In fact, bought all of it, from 10.4% stake in the Madhouse to 84.5%. And its original owner, Index Corporation, their share in the Madhouse Studios fell from 60.91% to 10.54%. So they're basically like, here, just take it. We don't want anything to do with Madhouse Studios anymore. Then, as if financial ruins could be the catalyst for a significant shift in staff. But at the same time, a bunch of staff and even founders left Madhouse Studios. So Masao Maruyama, the MA in Madhouse, he formed, guess what, MAPPA in 2011, which is a very big name studio today.
It's probably one of the current titans. It's hard to find anybody that's able to stand up to MAPPA now. A lot of productions, again, because it's such a big studio, it means they're able to produce a lot of shit. Like they produce over a dozen shows in the past 18 months alone.
So in my research, Maruyama was the core founding member and president of the company in the 1980s and so forth. He was not only the main producer, but he was also the studio head. So he was deciding which projects to pursue, and he had a huge amount of clout and influence over everything with the studio.
Yeah, so you can imagine that when he decided to pack up, all his bags and say, "Oh, you know what? I'm going to go over and make my own thing now." That this left a huge hole.
Yeah, I mean, your leader is gone.
Right, your creative visionary is gone now. Right, you have someone who literally steadied the ship, and this person now wants to buy a new boat.
And then Dezaki died of lung cancer on April 17th, 2011, at the age of 67, because he was notorious for chain smoking. Then Rintaro, the pseudonym for Shigeyuki Hayashi, he was apparently always a freelancer. So even though he found the company, he was never attached to his studio Madhouse as a staff, so he could just leave, come and go as he pleases.
He's like that cousin of one of the members who comes in and helps whenever needed, but like he was still like a pivotal part to the inception of Madhouse. I mean, the fact that, you know, if we speculate well, that his name was pretty much like part of Madhouse. Moving on afterwards, then like you have
Wait, so another thing though with Rintaro, which is he disappeared off the face of the planet, because the last thing he made was in 2012 doing the ED storyboard for the Pet Girl Sakuraso, which, okay, is actually a really good ED, to be fair. I really like that ED and the music and everything. But his last directorial work was Blade in 2011, where he was the assistant director for the series. And then since then, like, I couldn't find anything that he has done. So he's gone in terms of, like...
You can pretty much assume he's retired.
Yeah. Then comes The Last Man Standing, Kawajiri. He is still there at Madhouse, and he's the only founder that has any presence. And he still does the storyboard for a lot of Madhouse's work to this day. So that guy is like loyal to his own company, not bailing or anything. Like, he's still there.
Well, someone's got to steady this shit, right? Somebody's got to do something for Madhouse, right? If it's not him, then who else is it going to be?
Then you have the Satoshi Kon, who passed away. So obviously,
yeah, you have Yuasa going on to create Sign Saru, his own studio.
And then you have Hosoda creating his own studio, Studio Chizu, in April 2011. So even though Wolf Children was co-produced by Madhouse, all these big-name people that had their break in the anime industry all just pieced out at 2011.
It's almost like, in a way, like it either created the legacy for a lot of these people, or it was a springboard for them to go on to create their own legacy elsewhere, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But for Madhouse itself, it was terrible. Because then now it's like you don't have that core, like,
yeah.
You don't have that core anymore.
You don't have money, and now you don't have the talent anymore. So then, I guess, because of that, Madhouse had to...
Oh, they were desperate.
So they did
scrounge for
So
projects.
they did a bunch of weird things. So, okay, throughout the 2010s, they did some video game, like, intro sequences and stuff. But let's not get into that, even though I love Persona series.
Yeah. Do you like Marvel?
I do like Marvel.
Do you like Iron Man?
Do you like Blade?
Do you like Wolverine? Or anything from the X-Men?
So there is something in 2011 called Marvel Anime.
On paper, that sounds crazy. That sounds like it should be good.
And it is a series of 4 anime television series, and then later on 2 direct-to-video films produced in collaboration between Marvel Entertainment and Madhouse. And keep in mind that this was before Marvel... This was like the beginning of when Marvel became a huge movie property.
This was still
studio.
This is still at the point when Marvel had sold a lot of its properties over to Sony, right?
Right, like for Spider-Man, yeah.
Yeah. So this is before...
And X-Men, I think.
This is now before the MCU.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely before the MCU. So these 4 television series, as Will and I alluded to earlier, is Iron Man, Wolverine, X-Men, and Blade.
All of which didn't rate very highly on my anime list.
They were 6.08 for Iron Man and Wolverine. X-Men is 6.35, and Blade is 6.23.
Then there were also 2 more movies that came out, right? The direct-to-video?
The Iron Man one, and then there's the Black Widow and Punisher one in 2013 and 2014, respectively. And they're all
did very well.
6.2 and 6.31 MAL rating. Of course, these numbers of these MAL numbers may not mean a lot to people, but for context, that is like barely passable in terms of anime quality.
Like, you could produce a show that ranks around like a 6 or maybe like a low 7, and you could still get renewed for a second season, right? Like that's the kind of low bar. So they were able to meet it by, like, at this point, I think the lows of Madhouse, along with the rise of Marvel, just meant that like none of these things ever continued.
And
again.
this thing is these numbers of 6 point whatevers are crazy because all the other famous works that we have mentioned that were directed or produced by all these famous directors and whatnot.
They're all 8s and above.
They're all 8s and above. They're all like the most important anime films or anime series of all time.
Death Note, it's a 9. Hunter x Hunter, that's a 9. Both Paprika and Perfect Blue, those are like top 8s. They're, they're very, very highly rated and very well respected.
It goes beyond the anime zeitgeist. Like, people make fun of weebs and say, "Oh, you like Death Note," but in a very weird way, that is how prominent and influential Death Note was, because it has seeped through the mainstream of modern human society beyond the weeb fandom. So they kind of just
yeah, but that doesn't mean that things were always going to be bad, right? I think, well, this actually may have been more of like a red herring, to be fair, but it was still good while it lasted, because you fast forward over to 2015 and a little known show called One Punch Man shocked the airwaves.
I think One Punch Man season 1, because season 2 doesn't exist, season 1 is one of the most popular and at the same time critical darlings of the 2010s.
If you imagine the blow up of Demon Slayer, like in 2019 and 20 onwards, One Punch Man had the same effect in 2015. Everybody who was bald decided they were Saitama. Everyone decided to put on yellow spandex and red kitchen gloves.
Everyone decided to do 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups.
Dude,
100...
there were so many like workout YouTube videos that of people just doing the workouts, and none of them ever succeeded. But like, it's like that was the influence that One Punch Man had. Like, it was just that popular. It was just that good, and both of us have watched it. Yes, it's that good, right? And it's credited as a Madhouse property.
Except, it turns out that after doing some digging, that almost all of the staff responsible for One Punch Man were freelancers, and the director Shingo Natsume, who did Sunny Boy now, he called in favors and assembled his team that way because, and this is just pure speculation, there was nobody at Madhouse.
Yeah.
So he had to call in favors. He had to be like, well, I'm just gonna have to do it myself.
In the end, like, it was just like, yeah, like you said, the result, the fruits and labor of freelancers, friends, family who were able to just come in and contribute as much as they could to One Punch Man season 1, that in the end it is only credited to Madhouse literally by association, just by name, right? But in the end, like, the core team that actually produced it don't exist in Madhouse anymore.
I mean, that just comes to show season 2 of One Punch Man went to JC staff, because there's literally nobody that was going to make it.
Yeah.
And this is when One Punch Man was, like, at its height of popularity and significance. And still they were like, yeah, we don't have the ability to make season 2.
Yeah, this is why, like, for a while, people always wondered, like, is it just, like, the Madhouse curse where, like, big popular properties just don't have follow-up seasons or sequels? And it's like, maybe just Madhouse's style. Maybe they just don't, they want to, produce a banger and then move on and make another banger. No, it was just because, 1, they had no money, and 2, they had no people.
So now we fast forward to the current times and beyond. And it seems to me, at least from where I'm standing, which is as a layman, really.
Yeah, but at the same time with, like, an air of optimism, right?
Madhouse Studios seems to be coming back. So a lot of people have left, but in a way, like, silver lining, right? A lot of people left, so then you have room for the new blood to come and grow.
It's still going to be brutal work, but, like, come on, like, who's going to pass up the opportunity to work with Madhouse?
That's like saying, oh, I worked at Pixar, I worked at Disney, or I was a video game programmer for Blizzard. You know?
You know that, like, work's going to be tough. Absolutely going to be tough. Anything to do with animation really is going to be hard work. But, like, if you enjoy doing it and you can bear with the harsh working conditions, I think, like, the enjoyment you get from producing or animating a show under the Madhouse banner, that goes a long way.
And if you make it big, then you will be a big shot at Madhouse. You will be the next Hosoda. You will be the next Yuasa, Satoshi Kon. right?
Yeah, and I don't think that like with Madhouse going through all these changes, they've forgotten where they come from. They've forgotten their roots. I mean, like, look, 2019, like after like I think it was like 7 or 8 years, season 3 of Chihaya Furu came back.
Yeah, No Guns Life, which is a weird detective action anime series, has 2 seasons. Sunny Boy obviously is premiering at summer 2021. Overlord season 4 got announced. I didn't even talk about that for news, and it's going to be made by Madhouse. So, and it's not to say that Madhouse did nothing, because if I just like glance over to the series that they have done, you know, things like as Will just said, Ace of Diamonds,
All Out,
Parasite the Maxim, Death Parade,
A Place Further Than Universe.
From 2018, yeah. One Punch Man, obviously 2015. Overlord, My Love Story,
Irregular
Hajime no
Hajime no Ippo,
Ippo,
Irregular Magic High School.
Cardcaptor Sakura.
That's a lot. That's
Yeah.
a lot of stuff. I mean, granted, you know, you are going to have like Mappa, who produces just as many shows, but within a year. But like we're comparing like apples to oranges here.
And the other thing to note is that there is no like figurehead. There, like when Chihaya Furu came out, I was ecstatic and it was great. I don't know a single like staff that like stands out to me right away. Or No Game No Life, very good anime, very influential too. Had this big splash. I don't even know who, like, I there's no Satoshi Kon equivalent. There is no Hosoda equivalent. There's no Yuasa equivalent. Of course there is, because that position has to be filled by someone. But their name has no impact. But Madhouse Studios has the impact. But then it also has the tarnished legacy from before. And everyone is just like, well, oh god, it's Madhouse. At least from an anime viewer, that's how I see it. I don't know about you, Will.
I think like anytime you talk about Madhouse, you remember the good old days.
Exactly. Like
You just remember, oh man, fucking No Game No Life was amazing. One Punch Man was great. Parasite the Maxim was ridiculous.
and
like,
all those came out at like 2014, 2015.
oh, we didn't even talk about Death Parade.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
said that.
like Death Parade was, and then there's Death Billiards as well. Like there was just so much good stuff that had come out from the Madhouse banner that, like, no matter how much we talk about its fall from grace and the financial troubles it's gone through, like you don't think about those. You think about the stuff that they produced. Like no one talks about season 2 of One Punch Man. You only talk about season 1 because that was the good shit, even if it was produced by a bunch of freelancers.
So, in conclusion, like if I have to say final thoughts, at least to the history of Madhouse before we go into some of their work specifically, I think Madhouse has a very soft spot in my heart because they made so much stuff of different genres, different sources, different styles. It was like a catch-all umbrella studio.
They produced my most favorite anime series of all time.
And without Studio Madhouse, we will not see Mappa or Science Saru that was later founded by these people who had their big break at Madhouse. So they created and sparked a lot of talent. And it's unsure whether or not they could, relive those glory days, the golden age. But I'm optimistic.
We all hope to be optimistic
You have
because
to-
it's like the fact that the studio brought us these juggernauts like One Punch Man and Death Note. Like you have to feel like if it's going to be a final send off, at least like go gracefully. Like just enjoy what they've done, and if it's going to be at an end, at the very least, you know that throughout all these troubling times that they were still there.
So it is just, I hope the best for Studio Madhouse, basically. And I hope they redeem themselves, and I hope, 2-3 years down the line, you and I will be having a conversation about how awesome Madhouse Studios is.
Who knows? Maybe in the future, somehow they're able to put the ragtag squad together and make One Punch Man season 3.
Right. So
One can dream.
Yeah,
maybe No Game No Life season 2.
Yeah, I would like that. So I found a random Reddit comment that said Mappa is to Madhouse as Trigger is to Gainax.
I mean, like it's uncanny, right? It's pretty much like you knew where the classics came from, and now these big studios have carried on the legacy just under a different name.
Okay, so actually, I thought we would we went a lot more than I thought we would. But now let's talk about the works, the anime works of
We listed a
Studio
bunch of them
Madhouse.
already, but we're going to talk about them again because they're just that good.
So we're going to talk in depth about a number of them. Will, do you want to go first?
If I haven't already talked enough about it, everybody needs to check out Black Lagoon.
Yeah.
Black Lagoon is one of my personal favorites. As mentioned, it's about like a salaryman in Japan who is fed up with his life, but then ends up getting tied up in a deal gone wrong, a deal gone wrong, and is now working with a bunch of pirates. But then he's adopted that lifestyle. Doesn't need to strong arm anybody, but he just uses his wits. He uses his talents to be a good pirate of the seas. And you just sort of look into like the seedy underworld of gangs that live out in Southeast Asia. It's brutal. It's violent. There's no happy endings. There are going to be some bright spots, but just the journey along the way of just people like going through like the nittiest and grittiest of environments, and just trying to bloom a flower out of concrete. It's just a beautifully dark show.
And Black Lagoon is available everywhere. So it's like Prime, Crunchyroll, Funimation, Netflix. It's just available everywhere.
Everything all the way through to the last 6-episode OVA, Roberta's Blood Trail. Really, really good. I highly recommend it. Come back to me if you've watched it. We can discuss.
One of the shows that I have watched in preparation for this episode is Gunslinger Girl. I've heard a lot of good things about it. It's based on a manga about little girls who are genetically engineered to be assassins. And they have like a handler who's like an adult that accompanies like these girls to go, do the government's bidding. And it is very slow, but it's also extremely good. I really like it. The violence is like in bursts, but it's not every day you get to see a girl carrying a violin case, then dropping it on the ground, and a P-90 submachine gun comes out, and you just decimate a bunch of terrorists. So it's pretty cool, and it talks about... It's just sad. Speaking of Black Lagoon, Gunslinger Girl is just tragedy and sadness everywhere, and trying to find the good things in a bad situation.
It seems like it's almost polar opposites, right? For every Black Lagoon, there's like a Tatami Galaxy. For every No Game No Life, which is just basically it's like happy, like colorful, and a place for the universe, which is just cute girls traveling around the world.
No, not traveling around the world, traveling to Antarctica.
From Japan,
yes,
that's halfway around the world.
Sorry, when I thought you said around the world, I thought you mean like multiple places.
No, yours is more succinct. But yeah, for every one of those kind of shows, you'll have like a Parasite the Maxim.
So Parasite the Maxim, Will has read the manga but not watched the anime. I have watched the anime but not read the manga. Parasite the Maxim is just bloody good time, man.
I've watched some of the anime, and I can confidently say that it is 95% faithful when it comes to its adaptation. So you can pick and choose whichever you want.
It's on Crunchyroll, Netflix, High Dive. Parasite the Maxim I really like a lot, especially if you like violence. But not like...
Side note, in terms of like the manga, it did come out in the 80s, so it is a little bit dated in terms of its drawing style, but I thoroughly... It's if you thought that the anime itself was already as gruesome and uncensored as it was, it's even more ridiculous in the manga, and I cannot recommend it anymore.
Overlord, I really like a lot. It's available on Crunchyroll, Funimation, and Netflix.
Season 4 is coming out.
Season 4 is coming out. It is the most trashiest guilty pleasure ever. It is not necessarily what I call good anime, or no, great anime, but it's hella good and hella fun.
Yeah, I would also be able to endorse Claymore. I think Claymore was actually a pretty decent show to watch. I think it acts as a springboard for you to go and check out the manga for sure. But it's easy to consume. It's on Crunchyroll. Like, why not?
I think the two movies, The Girl Who Leapt Through Time and Summer Wars on Funimation, is Hosoda's best works. I mean, he's still doing really good work, and I'm really excited for Belle, right?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of Hosoda works on Netflix as well now, so you can probably check it out there.
Like Mirai?
Mirai, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about Mirai.
Okay, so then we could just keep naming stuff.
Oh shit! Yeah, Perfect Blue and Paprika are on fucking Netflix.
Yeah, I told you.
Check those out. Yeah,
check those out as well. So then comes the ones that you probably not necessarily would check out on first notice, which is Death Parade and Paranoia Agent.
Oh man, let's start with Death Parade.
Okay, so they're both available on Funimation.
Yeah.
But let's talk about
There
Death
was a period
Parade.
of time when Death Parade was on Netflix. I'm not sure if it's on Netflix Hong Kong anymore, but it might be on like the US one, Canada, UK, wherever. But Death Parade is fucking beautiful. Like you said, I think to quote Jason, the contrast between the opening and the actual anime itself is just like day and night.
It's so good. Like, a lot of people who I recommend to watch it, they were just like,
You're trolling, right?
you're trolling, right?
You're just memeing me, right?
This opening is like bullshit. What is this? And then like after the first episode, they're like, this is actually really good.
I've never felt more depressed after watching some of those episodes.
But then there are some that are really hopeful.
Oh man, the bowling alley one,
The bowling alley one was super cute,
super wholesome,
super cute.
But then the video game one was bad. Like when you
air
see
hockey one,
when you see the worst in people.
the air hockey one was pretty bad.
I mean, to be fair, look, if you watch Death Parade, but you're not sure you want to continue, you're just dabbling into it. Just watch the first 2 episodes, and then you will figure out. Like,
I would
if
say
this
not
is
even
worth
the
it.
second episode. The first episode is enough to convince you one way or the other.
And the
So-
second episode nails further down what Death Parade really is all
exactly.
about.
So we've been going on about like random video games and air hockey. So what it is in Death Parade, a bunch of people show up at this bar, and
They don't really remember how they got there,
and
right? They just show up. They get out of an elevator. There's a bartender at the end of the hall.
and we won't spoil the premise, but needless to say, they have to play what would be, a normal like game. Sometimes it is like Old Maid,
Maybe it's like darts,
maybe it's like bowling, air hockey, video games.
Street Fighter. Yeah.
So let's just say that it is very episodic. It's sort of like Tales from the Crypt, Twilight Zone kind of thing. Each episode is different.
We of course recommend you watching it from first to last, but like you won't be missing too much if you were to jump episodes every now and then. In that sense, don't do it, but everything is kind of contained within its own episode.
Yeah. Now, if you want to just huddle into a corner with like your blanket over your head, your hands on your head, and being like, "What the fuck did I just watch?"
Maybe also maybe buy a baseball bat. Oh wait, no.
And
Wait,
rollerblades.
don't buy a baseball bat. Oh no.
No, you do buy a
No,
baseball bat.
But do you have the baseball bat?
Do you have a chalk?
But, Wait, hold on. Why am I holding a baseball bat?
Wait, what are you doing here? Wait, Will. So
That's the premise of Paranoia Agent.
So
basically.
Paranoia Agent is directed by Satoshi Kon. It's available on Funimation.
In a way, it's probably one of the more tamer of his works, but it's also still like a fucking mind fuck.
Yeah. It's about a guy, or we don't even know really. I mean, they do reveal it later, but that's spoilers. Who is on rollerblades and has a crooked bat. And it is like an urban legend that people who get hit by it, their lives change. But not necessarily in the way that you're thinking of. And Paranoia Agent is just
Yeah, because all the changes happen in your head, or do they?
I'm paranoid, dude.
Yeah, every episode it literally dives down into the psyche of that episode's main character. Not to say that they're like episodic; they're all like tied together by one main theme, which is the Bat Boy, right? The roller skating boy.
Yeah.
Do you remember the Isekai episode?
No.
It's the one where they go LARPing.
Maybe? I don't remember.
Yeah, that one I actually didn't enjoy as much, but the other ones.
The
are
teacher one was the one I remember.
dude, that one was fucked. That was so good.
I will never look at pink, like little fluffy toys the
Yeah.
same way.
Yeah.
Like I will.
Never
Like-
judge a book by its cover is literally the anime of. Yeah, that's literally Paranoia Agent.
So Will and I also like Red Line a lot, even though it contributed to the demise of the golden age of Madhouse Studios. It is without a doubt just a really awesome movie.
Hey man, like just buy the Blu-ray. You can rent it off of Amazon.
Amazon Prime, yeah.
You just go ahead and watch that shit.
Chihaya Furu, I like a lot. It's available. All 3 seasons are available on Crunchyroll, High Dive, and all these different places. We've talked about it in our sports episode. You should really watch it. I mean, anything else, Will, that you want to talk about?
I mean, I could talk about Atomic Galaxy again, but like I think everyone already knows how much I fucking love it. It's my favorite anime of all time.
You'll get another opportunity later on.
Yeah, but I think there's one that's maybe we should talk about. I haven't watched it, and you have, but I think I ought to watch it with you again.
Yeah?
High School of the Dead.
Yo, so High School of the Dead is available.
If we're talking about balls to the wall Madhouse properties,
High School of the Dead is available on High Dive and on Netflix, but not on Hong Kong Netflix, so we're going to have to use a VPN.
The only one you do get in Hong Kong is High School DxD. Do not get that mixed up like I did.
But High School DxD is not that bad either, but that's a different
level of enjoyment.
Different level of enjoyment, different story in a different episode. High School of the Dead, though. God damn it. There were moments of watch. High School of the Dead is about, I just say in one sentence, a zombie attack occurs at a high school, and they have to survive.
Physics, bro. Physics.
Yo, it's just so good. Is it, like, great? Yes. Is it, like, cross-Ange great? Yes. Is it stupid? Yes. I don't care. It is good. You should watch High School of the Dead. It is unfortunate that the manga did pass away, so then they chose to discontinue the series. It's based on a manga, so you can read the manga beyond until a certain point, which, of course, then the passing of the mangaka. But that anime, that first only season is just... Whew. I'm just thinking about the scenes in my head.
Any endorsement for Chubits?
That's you, man.
Chubits I really liked a lot. I read the manga and also watched the anime when I was younger. It's kind of hard to really remember every aspect of the show, but let's just say, like, can androids become sentient? Can robots find love? That's basically it. It's a good show. It is a little bit dated now.
With a cute girl.
Yeah, with a cute girl. With certain questionable themes, but like let's not go there.
Let's not go there.
Just
hey,
enjoy it for what it is.
The anime is like crazy. Okay, it has its own share of problems.
Yeah. Actually, one thing I didn't realize: you ever play? You know Beyblades, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that Beyblade was produced by Madhouse.
All of it. Yeah.
It was fucking crazy.
You didn't know? I thought you were like looking at it and you knew.
I knew, but it's like I'm talking
we
about
put it
now.
in the docket.
I'm talking about now, where it's like
okay.
for the longest time, I was like, I had Beyblades. I used to buy those knockoff Beyblade weights in China, which had little like graphite starters, so you could
You're
you
crazy.
could start fires with. It wasn't as crazy as the ones who modded their Beyblades with razor blades.
Okay, statute of limitations is like over, right? Like,
Yeah.
like we're safe. You're safe, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just that's crazy.
It's I think like it was cool while it lasted, but actually no, it's actually making a comeback now. Kids in high school, because it's like, what are you gonna do, right? Like, you can't go out and play and like
Twirl a top at each other.
No, they actually have those little like plastic Beyblade arenas, and they actually just Beyblade it out.
Okay.
Okay, again, like if you haven't watched Hunter x Hunter or you haven't watched Death Note, fucking watch those, man. Those are fucking great. Or Girl,
or
Guy
Nana,
Girl.
and watch Nana. I highly recommend Nana.
You can find Beck. Watch Beck.
Yeah, good luck trying to find that. So, in conclusion, Madhouse is an extremely important studio in the history of anime. It is still relevant, hopefully, and will be more relevant, hopefully. But the stuff that they have made will be forever remembered as one of the best studios to ever come out with certain works.
Yeah, despite its troubles, when we talk about, when anyone talks about like top 5 or top 10 anime studios, you can be pretty sure that Madhouse will always be in the discussion.
And here's the thing. Madhouse Studios has made so much stuff that Will and I could not even consume all of it. Or if you were to ask someone else who likes Madhouse Studios, what is your favorite property? They might say stuff that we never have watched.
Bruh, I'm pretty sure if you're into anime, you've watched, like you said, right? If you're into anime, you would have watched one thing that was done by Madhouse at the very least, right? One Punch Man, Death Parade, Death Notes, right? Hunter x Hunter, Beyblade if you were younger. Fucking like there's almost nothing out there that hasn't been like untouched by a single anime fan. You will have come across something, and it will be like that for the longest time because that's the impact that Madhouse had on the industry.
Yeah,
On the fans.
Their catalog is just insane.
It's good. It's a shame, but it's gone through the troubles it did. But sometimes you just have to fall down and get yourself back up to really know like what you're made of, right?
Yeah.
So like you said, this isn't going to be like that Phoenix moment where it rises from the ashes. This is more just, look, I'm starting to learn how to walk again, and hopefully, along the way,
rehab.
Hopefully along the way, like I can actually, make some stuff that can continue the fan base and continue to grow the fan base.
All right. So, Will, if nothing, I think that's the end of this episode, right?
Yeah, I mean, like I can keep talking about all the good shows that Madhouse has, but like,
I mean,
it's easy access.
We have a lot of shows that we haven't even mentioned yet, but that will just be like a 5-hour podcast, really, at this point.
I mean, like we could spend an hour just talking about Death Parade, an hour talking about One Punch Man, an hour talking about Atomic Galaxy, an hour talking about Death Note.
I haven't even talked about Cardcaptor Sakura.
We haven't even finished a regular Magic High School, right? There's even like just so much. We haven't watched Hajime no Ippo.
Yeah, exactly. Probably one of the most famous and important sports anime that involve boxing. So, I'm a little bit sad, but also hopeful that it will Madhouse would, rise.
Pay your respects. Go and watch some Madhouse shit now.
It's available everywhere. So you
got Netflix, you got Amazon Prime, you got Crunchyroll or Funimation. Fuck, you might even have High Dive.
I have High Dive.
Yeah,
okay.
So go ahead, like just put something on. If you haven't watched Death Note, what are you doing?
To be fair, I haven't watched Death Note
either. I just read the manga.
Why did you just say I read the manga?
I watched.
Why did you call this out like that?
I watched the live action. Actually, that was the first interaction I had with Death Note.
Jesus.
Hey, the first movie was okay. The manga is obviously like much better.
So that's the end of our episode, episode 11 of the Good Anime Palette podcast. You could always reach us through our email at gapalette@gmail.com, all one word, all lowercase. You could reach us through Twitter at PaletteGood, capital P, capital G, or through our Facebook page, www.com/PaletteGood, capital P, capital G, all one word. You can also visit our website, www.goodanimepalette.com. I've been putting some work into that, so let's see if it pays off. You can also join us on Discord. The Discord invite is in the show description, or join our Mal Club on My Anime List. You can join in the show description as well. The Mal Club only is just me and Will for the time being, so please, somebody out there, we would love to hear from you guys. And on Discord too, we have a number of people, so feel free to join and let's talk anime and manga. Our music credits is Green Lights by Jahzzar as our intro. Our break music is Min 2019 by minwbu. Our outro music is What You Thinking, the instrumental version by Wataboy. You can find our intro music at thefreemusicarchive.org, and our break and outro music can be found at pixabay.com. Will.
I hope that with this slight revival of Madhouse that we're going to finally see season 2 of No Game No Life.
Okay, so Devil's a Part-Timer season 2 is happening. Komi-san Can't Communicate is happening. Shaman King had a remake. That's happening.
I mean, they did a fucking sequel of... They did Yashihime. Like, they did that one. Like, that... You have, like, old revivals. Why can't we have No Game No Life? There's enough material from the light novel, so I don't see why you wouldn't be able to produce anything. Maybe you just don't want to.
Yeah, maybe.
Which I guess we'll have to get our hands on No Game No Life 0 and watch that first, because prequel's good enough at this stage.
Yeah. So that's it for the episode. Will, anything you want to leave our listeners with?
Atomic Galaxy is the greatest anime
ever
produced.
Okay, guys. Okay. Take Will off the mic. Boys, round him up. Put him in the cage.
No. Let me say my piece.
All right.
Tatami Galaxy is the greatest anime ever produced of all time. Drop mic.
Certified by Will. Peace.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you also would have something to say about that too, which we will talk about that later. So, thanks very much for checking in today's episodes. Look, we've talked about some stellar properties from Madhouse. Whether you watched it or not, rewatch it. Rewatch One Punch Man again.
Oh,
rewatch
Will.
Death Note.
Will, I just remembered. The next episode is going to be a very special episode, isn't it?
Yep. Very, 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 very special episode.
So let's we have to plan for that, huh?
Yeah. Are we talking about the AD or are we talking about
No. Episode 12.
Yes. It's gonna be a big one.
gonna
So
be
make sure you tune in, okay?
Yeah. It's time to celebrate.
Yes. And it's also time for you to go watch some more anime. So, thanks very much for checking in. This is Will,
This is Jason.
and we'll catch you very, very soon.
Later.